Here now, Jim Trusty, former attorney for President Trump and former DOJ prosecutor. I'm not sure if you heard Peter there, Jim, but he was kind of talking about the fact that there's a possibility that Todd Blanche might remain the attorney general, might be permanently in that position. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think that would be a bad move. I'm not putting money on it because there are so many different names floating around already. But look, I think Todd, he's had a year of on-the-job training as the Deputy Attorney General. That's a great perch, a great position to learn from and to learn how to navigate this giant aircraft carrier full of lawyers called the Department of Justice. And I got to tell you, Trace, my bias, maybe because I'm old and because I was a prosecutor for 27 years, my bias is a little bit towards experience. And I think the president, and very understandably in terms of what he went through with Jack Smith and Alvin Bragg and Fonnie Willis, his emphasis is kind of on loyalty and boldness. And so I think he got a lot of that out of the now former Attorney General. And I think he can get a lot of that from a lot of people. But I just hope that the merits of experience kick in some too, even though that's probably not given the same credit that I would give it.
Are you intimating here that a person like Lee Zeldin doesn't have the prosecutorial chops for this job, that he's spent 22 years in the military, that he was running his own business, the youngest lawyer in New York at one point in time, lawmaker, but not the prosecution resume that you would hope for?
No, I'm not going quite that far. I mean, look, again, the Attorney General's not the one trying the cases, so judgment is a big part of it. And I think Zeldin, from what I know of the man, has a lot of good judgment, a lot of good life experience. Those are good things. It's just, if you've been inside the machine like I was for 17 years at the Department of Justice, you end up thinking, it could be helpful to have people that know the inside game a little bit. But, the problem is that touches up against the deep state that President Trump, dealt with in some pretty brutal years. So I don't think his instinct is going to be, let's find somebody who has a lot of federal prosecutorial experience. Bondi didn't have federal experience, but she did try cases in Florida, including death penalty cases, and she ran the Attorney General's office. So, my own personal preference is to have some measure of that in the mix, but that doesn't mean they can't be a wildly successful Attorney General.
Stand by one time. Jim, I'm going to put this up on the screen because this is Pam Bondi, her new social media post. She just posted this.